Check. Good morning, traders. This is Barry Wilkie with StartupTrading.com. It is 5 minutes till 9 a.m. Eastern Time on Monday, November 25th. Wow, this year is just flying by. So let's look at the week ahead so far, so we can, get a little bit of a, plan of where volatility may be at its highest for the week. So there's no scheduled news for today. Um, Tomorrow we are going to have, a few, uh, small events at 10 o'clock. Uh, and then FOMC meeting minutes, instead of being on Wednesday this week, are going to be on Tuesday. So Tuesday at 2, there will probably be some volatility. With the way this week is so far, we'll have to see how much volatility, but you should expect quite a bit. And then if it's a nothing burger, which, I would say is probably a 65% chance that it'll be nothing, uh, but you can't, go into it thinking that. It's just not a safe way to go. So, it's one of those things that you should probably be flat before, wait on the both stop runs, and then re-engage, or re-engage after the first stop run, something like that. So as we look at then Wednesday morning, we're going to have GDP, uh, preliminary GDP, and then Wednesday at 10, we're going to have core PCE price index, which was probably going to be Thursday at 8:30, but now it's going to be Wednesday at 10. And then, of course, we have Thanksgiving on Thursday. Futures will be open and they will close early. I'm not going to be messing around with it. So if you want to figure out what time, if you're going to be trading that, you'll have to make sure that you have your flat before the session closes. And then Friday is going to be a short day, right? The stock market's going to close at 1 o'clock, and futures are going to close at 1:15 p.m. Eastern Time. As far as earnings go this week, there's really nothing to speak of. Zoom was this morning. I don't know what they did. I don't really care, but that was the one this morning. And then nothing that's really to write home of. So we covered, the events for the week. And then as we look back at Friday's session, right, we had a move up slightly on the Russell and the Dow, kind of repairing some old single prints and, continuing to climb and grind higher. Uh, the ES just basically filling right around the previous day's high, and most of the action was, above the previous day's value, but just marginally so, and just chopping back and forth up there in that range. And the Nasdaq just had an inside day at the top end of value, so it didn't do diddly squat. But you can look on here and see how close we were to, uh, getting towards that 6,000. We closed at 59.6850 on the cash. So the title of my video is above or below uh, the cash SPX 6K, right? So we were 31.5 points at Friday's close below it, and then just going from there. So if we look at what that did to structure on Friday, we had some salmon run trades on the Russell and the Dow. We have some single prints on the Russell, an XS and A line on the Russell and the Dow, and that's pretty much where structure left off from that session. Looking at where we are right now, we are approaching, right? We're up 43 points basically, and we are above. If we were to open right now, we would be above the cash market 6K, because I think it's about a 20-point offset. We only have a little bit of time uh, left on this uh, contract, right? The December contract. It's starting to wind down. Is going to go off the board on December 20th, uh, right? Which is, pretty late in the month. And then we're going to roll over on Monday, December 16th. So basically, in uh, 3 weeks from today, we're going to roll over. Uh, and then we'll, be starting in the March contract. So looking at the all-time high, which I don't think is to be to be honest with you, I don't think is as significant as is the above or below the 6K in the cash. So right now we would be about 9 points, 9, 10 points over that cash 6K if we were to open up right here. And you can see, basically it was just a run of the mill retracement. Uh, come back down there, held perfectly, and then coming back up. So the top of balance, and you can see how much closer the ES is uh, to the top of balance. I've got the top of balance marked off at 60.45. The previous all-time high was 53.25. For the Nasdaq, though, it's 21,300 basically is where we're at, and you can see we've hit 341 basically before. So the legs start down, which is where I would, watch to see if there's resistance, which is also where that leg start down is on that last flush, was right where the previous bell high was at 21,170. We've got about 190 points, 180 points to get up to that location, and then we just have to see what happens. I expect not a lot today, to be honest with you. Overnight action is 27 points for the ES. As you can see, we had that nice election pop up. We had our normal pullback, and then we've, slowly retraced back up to the scene of the crime for the ES. If I look at, the same way on the NQ right now, you can see it's got, much farther to go if this ever stops dancing around. Uh, it's got much farther to go uh, to get up back up to towards that scene of the crime. And then again, watch right around that, just a little over 21,100, 140 to 160 is right around that where that level is. That should be tested at some point this week, I would think, uh, just because we're only 150 points away from it. Don't think it has to be today, although it could be. Uh, Looking at all the indexes, look at the Russell just holding up above those single prints. Structurally, that's the low liquidity signs that you look at. So you can see that the overnight, you have to ask yourself, different scenarios because we don't know what's going to happen today after the bell rings. Uh, all the overnight action is above these single prints, so getting back below it, uh, it will probably not return back up here again if that happens. However, doing any type of a retracement, holding, those lows, maybe even filling the single prints again during the bell, but not getting any traction below them and moving back up. It's just a game of keep away. So we'll just have to see. So you got, the scenario of, a gap and hold, a gap and go, uh, the look above and fail, all that's on the table. So, if it fails, you would have to think that you're going to fill in between uh, Friday's high and the single prints would be a band, right? This is, needs some price discovery in here more than likely. If we get back into where it prints negative, you got the single prints below that it'll probably respond from. Uh, but for the bulls, right, and especially with the ES needing the, to stay above the 6K potentially. Right now it's getting another look above 6K on the cash. Uh, what you would like to see is, uh, all these indexes having strength together basically. If they, if you get divergence again between the Russell and the Dow compared to the Nasdaq and the ES, it's just not going to be that exciting of a. It's not going to be a strong trend one way or the other, is what I'm trying to say. So this pullback low overnight since we opened, basically this 6,011 half has been holding. You can see the last two touches that you had right around 7,730 was it. So again, it's the same, scenario I was playing out for the Russell. If it falls below there, you got, a 10-point stand. And when I come in this morning, the futures have been open for about 14 hours, and they were already 13 hours, let's say, and it was just a 10 point, 11 point range. So you've just, stop run all those people that were looking for, retracement. So now potentially you could start a sequence coming from these highs that will implode and undercut all these. So that is something to be aware of. I think that's probably a low possibility, but watch that as it plays out because it probably has a better risk to reward in a smaller uh, range day potentially than does looking to buy a pullback until you've had some pullbacks, right? You want to see at least two pullbacks probably do something. Otherwise, we're just gonna probably flag more like we did on Friday, back and forth. But keep in mind there's on these low liquidity days, there's one thing that can happen, right? The VIX kind of there's no fear in the market today. Uh, so if they continue to sell the VIX, if the VIX has any weakness whatsoever, it should be bought. Uh, and my guess is that today's not going to be the day that they just start pounding the VIX. So you could get one time framing up that lasts for several time cycles as a scenario. So right now we are on that, right? So what you want to watch is that sequence that's coming off of the highs. Every time that little sequence breaks, it's probably confirming that we're going to keep one time framing higher. However, watching that 61.8 off of the swing high, when you start to see that hold, it'll probably, have a deeper retracement. That's just, something you can watch under the microscope today because, uh, we are only at, uh, we were almost at 100 points. We were about 40, 50 points when I come in this morning. So we're, just under 100 points in range for the NASDAQ now. So long-winded explanation, but you know, if you undercut these overnight lows, it better be short-lived, or it's basically a do not go long scenario until you get back over it, as far as I'm concerned, because it may never see those prices again. And if you are getting long, you better deal with very limited risk and not just assume that it's coming back up here because chances are 90% that it will not. I hope this has is. I hope you guys have a great day, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.